Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Dowd here to talk to you about ethics, which makes about as much sense as Hannibal Lecter having a cooking show. Pro tip, it's not a good idea, but ethics indeed are what we are discussing today, so let's get to it. It is August 27th, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. I have an 8-year-old daughter, and for those of you who don't have children, let me assure you that the phrase, "it's not fair," is a sweet, sweet lullaby that drifts you off to sleep every night. Except it's totally not. It's a terrible, horrible phrase that will make you pull all of your hair out before your kids are 5. Seriously, the order in which kids learn new words goes mama, dada, no, and it's not fair, in that order, every time. But here's the thing about it's not fair. Your phone is probably not fair either. Now you might be asking yourself, could Adam have gotten to the point a little bit quicker? Was it, say, not fair that I made you sit through all this whole analogy just to get here? No, it wasn't. And eat your peas while you're at it. We good? Good. Long story long, your phone has a lot of bad packed into it. And no, I'm not talking about LG's garbage UI. I'm talking about precious minerals, cheap labor, and repairability issues, and Fairphone looks to solve all of those problems. But first, what makes your phone so bad? Well, first of all, your phone has a lot of precious materials in it. Cobalt, tin, gold, stuff like that. And a lot of those materials come from places where, let's just say, worker safety and living wages aren't really high up on the priority list, if they're on the list at all. And where are your phones assembled? Wherever labor is cheapest, of course. And what perpetuates this cycle? The fact that if you get a scratch or a crack in your phone screen, it costs about a quarter of the price of the phone to repair it, so you just deal with it until your carrier has its next buy one, get one offer. Now, to be fair, most OEMs have taken steps to make sure that your phone isn't a terrible piece of machinery, but let's just say if you knew every little bit of pain and suffering that went into the manufacture of your pocket computer, you might not sleep all that well. Enter Fairphone, who has gone to extraordinary lengths to make sure that your Fairphone 3 is as ethically sourced as possible. Recycled copper and plastics, conflict-free tin and tungsten. It's modular, so it's easily fixed, but all that comes at a cost. €450 to be exact. Well, that's not bad for a phone, right? Well, sure, but this phone has a Snapdragon 632 processor, 4GB of RAM, and 64GB of admittedly expandable storage. It's not exactly a powerhouse. Indeed, you can get a phone with equal specs for about half the cost, and you can get many phones with better specs for less than €450. But if you ask people if they'd like to have an ethically sourced phone, pretty much everyone says yes. Well, here's your chance. Who's jumping on board? I'll be perfectly honest, I'm not, and it's totally only because they're not selling the phone here in the US. Golly gee gosh darn it, shucks. Fairphone is asking you to put your money where your mouth is, and should you? Well, probably not with these specifications and at that price point, but the Fairphone 3 isn't necessarily about sales, it's about the conversation, and we're having it. So mission accomplished. Of course, now we're done having it, because it's time for the roundup! We've talked before about Nintendo bringing Mario Kart to mobile, and now we have a date, September 25th, 2019. Programming note, the Digit Daily will be off the air September 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th. I'm just kidding. But this is pretty exciting. I flirted with Mario Kart for a while after my son bought a Switch, and I'm not sure how that's going to translate to a mobile game, but it's going to be fun to try it out. I'm looking forward to it. Bogdan on the newsletter team suggests that Motorola's Moto Mods were a major failure. Such a major failure that several different OEMs have emulated Moto Mods since then. Most recently, Huawei has a number of patents detailing phone cases with some modular capability, like a gamepad. LG is adding a case with a second screen to the LG V50. So yeah, these mods are totally not working at all, are they, Bogdan? Let's just agree to disagree. Full disclosure, I am a Moto Mod fan. As we mentioned yesterday, Star Wars released its new, I don't know if you want to call it a trailer so much as it's just a video that was shown at D23, which looks back at all the other Star Wars movies and includes some new footage of the Rise of Skywalker. I'll put a link in the show notes just to remind you. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. But then, I'm just going to say, Sith Army Knife is the most amazing thing you will see today. Link in the show notes. You may remember that Netflix, in addition to being one of the biggest streaming services in the world, got its start humbly mailing DVDs for people to watch. Well, it just dropped number 5 billion with a B into the old blue box. The movie in question? Rocket Man, which I didn't even realize was out on DVD already. Anyway, Netflix has been delivering DVDs for 21 years, so this is a pretty special milestone, and in case you're wondering, Engadget did the math for us. With 2.4 million current subscribers, every single one of them would have to rent one movie per month for the next 35 years to get to 6 billion. I honestly hope they're not still making DVD players in 35 years. Apple has reportedly and unfortunately shelved a sort of walkie-talkie for text feature it was working on. This would have allowed iPhone users to send short text messages over a certain proximity to other iPhones without the benefit of cellular coverage. The obvious advantage here is when you're outdoors outside of cell coverage. This could be a potentially life-saving capability someday, so I hope Apple hasn't completely given up on it. Speculation has it that this has to do with the departure of Apple exec Ruben Caballero, who considered this to be his baby. Please bring this feature back, Apple. We've already heard about a new Matrix movie in the works with Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss both reprising their very dead characters. Somehow. Well, now AMC is re-releasing the original Matrix in theaters this week to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the film. You can point at the Matrix as culturally significant for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is my favorite, bullet time filmography. So the chance to see this movie again on the big screen, remastered by the way, is a pretty awesome thing. And finally, a Redditor asked the question, what has not aged well? And surprisingly, the answer is not about 95% of tweets sent ever. But the thread itself is filled with all manner of jokes and stories and interviews. But the kicker has to be a Microsoft Flight Simulator ad from the year 2000. And, well, here.
Microsoft Flight Simulator 2000. Let's fly over New York City.
John, you just about crashed into the Empire State Building.
Hey, that would be cool.
Yeah, so I'm just... wow. Okay then. So that is going to do it for today's super awkward Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, that last Microsoft ad notwithstanding, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.